Well, the devs lied, guys. We've been had, fellas. We've had the rug pulled out from underneath us. They nerfed the movement again. They're not supporting the game anymore, folks. It's over. The game is dead. The numbers suck. The drip feed content is unacceptable. 2 maps is simply not enough. It's just a skeleton crew left now. All the core mechanics are simply broken. Nothing the devs do to improve the game will matter. The seasons are bad and lack anything of substance. The game has lost its identity. We're never going to have it like the glory days. The game is simply a disaster, everyone. I'm not playing the game anymore, people. I quit. At least that's the current headlines from a lot of big content creators. Me, I'm not buying it. Call me delusional if you want. I see something completely different than they do. Today's Monday Massacre is going to be a little different, so walk with me here. If you've been around a little bit with me, I'm sure you've noticed there hasn't been a lot of videos on the channel of me logging in, firing up record, and doing deep dives into maps. My favorite weapons versus yours. My favorite map. Right now it's contaminated. Me versus aircraft. Other ideas and ways to have so much fun. I do mention these things, and regrettably for me, I haven't really been doing it. Not because I don't want to. I really do. I personally find the game enjoyable. I believe I have gotten my money's worth so far, and I have been having a blast playing. I have friends in-game and in my Discord that amplifies the experience of having fun, even when we're getting our asses handed to us. Sometimes that fun is because of shenanigans. Sometimes it's group frustration, either at our own team not pushing, not playing the objectives, or because the opposing team is much better than ours and we get into this collective catharsis with engagements. And a lot of shit-talking is involved. Overall, the game is pretty solid, and we keep firing it up and log back in and try again. But lately, as a lot of you are aware from my recent drops in videos, I have been super frustrated with certain sectors of the community, specifically other content creators. And this has somewhat distracted me away from what I initially wanted to do with my channel. See, I don't do well with misinformation. I really don't do well with whiners. See, there's a huge difference between commentary and whining. Commentary seeks to improve or explain. Whining seeks to release frustration. One is a diagnosis. The other is a symptom. The easiest way to separate the two is whether the creator provides a path forward or not. Commentary identifies a flaw and explains why it's a flaw, and or provides reasonable solutions on how to fix it. It provides realistic data for the developer or the player. It looks at the ecosystem, acknowledging that while the drip feed is slow, the mechanical foundation of the game is still the best we've had in years. It balances the bad with the context. Commentary is provided for the audience's benefit. That would be you. It aims to keep the community informed so they can decide if the game is worth their time. Whining focuses on the feeling of that flaw. It's circular. It starts and ends with the creator's annoyance. It ignores the 90% of the game that works to dwell exclusively on the 10% that doesn't for them. It treats a single bug or a slow Season 2 rollout as a personal betrayal. Whining is very often provided for engagement and algorithmic benefit. It leans into the outrage culture because DICE lied, or Battlefield 6 is dead, and it gets more clicks than a nuanced breakdown of game mechanics. Commentary is an autopsy of the problem. Whining is just screaming into the void. It's a post-mortem. It's when a creator is supposed to look at the lack of maps and says, well, here's the math, here's the budget, and here's where this mismanagement is happening. It's objective, it's critical, and it's necessary for holding a multi-billion-dollar company like EA accountable. Whining, on the other hand, is performative. It's when the conversation stops being about the game's mechanics and starts being about the creator's mood. When you ignore the fact that the core gunplay is solid just to focus on a $50 boot store skin for the 10th video in a row, you aren't helping the community. You're just feeding the outraged machine. One wants the game to get better. The other just wants to be heard complaining. So why am I talking about this? Well, I'm glad you didn't ask. See, kiddos, when most of us go to the interwebs and search for Battlefield 6 or hell, any game content, we're looking for something specific in most cases. It could be a walkthrough. It could be looking for meta information. We're looking for answers to in-game questions like how to navigate the settings or which is the best settings setup. We're looking for game updates. This could be patch notes. This could be news, gameplay action because we might be at work and commentary gives us a little fix to keep the fiending at bay until we get home. It could be searching for where to start if you're brand new to the game or franchise. What the bulk of players are not looking for is the whining 12, 21, or 30-minute rage dissertations about how big mad you are because the devs nerfed the slide. We're not looking for your modern Common Core public math system level of education on content drops. We're not looking for your emotional waifu pillow support you hug while yelling into the microphone that you hate drip feed content. 2 maps every 90 days. That's the average as we know it so far as content drops are concerned. The majority of the Battlefield 6 gaming community has to sift through mediocre content about big mad creators about drip feed, or how they feel about corporate greed to answer a simple question about trying to figure out how to change the color settings for their indicators on their HUD. What should take a few moments often turns into scrolling several minutes until they find what they're looking for. It's kind of like indie rock music. There's some really good indie rock music out there. The problem is you gotta sift through a ton of garbage indie rock to find the gems. It's the same process in content on YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, whatever platform. There seems to be 2 types of content creators. The ones with substance. These are your educators, your community growth channels, how-tos and meta content. Answering questions, perhaps your community arbitrators, if you will. Then there's the ones that are just rice cakes, bland, crunchy air that offer very little in the way of true feedback, often filled with misinformation, massive amounts of bad information, and a severe lack of proper criticism or feedback. See, saying a game sucks is not criticism. It's a proclamation. But saying a game has some issues and constructively going over those issues and providing workarounds or ways to adjust to those issues, that's commentary. That's instructive. That's feedback and holding a company accountable for those problems that need to be addressed. Just complaining you can't slide like you used to, man, that's a nothing burger. Most of the Battlefield 6 gaming community don't care about the slide. And yes, my dude, I know it's been in the franchise for a while, and we haven't cared about it even then. Complaining about drip feed is a personal preference, not some weird-ass conspiracy by a gaming company. Okay, so you're not happy about the Cadence. That's fine. But to suggest that the Cadence exists because the devs are bad or lazy, corporate greed, because they are already abandoning the game, is Hollywood model thin at best. The devs stated they wanted to focus on quality before quantity. They stated this multiple times. Your reactions to this simply shows emotion, not facts. And when the devs say they want to make sure things work before dropping it, and they want it to take enough time to work on the content, and you don't like hearing this, and then refuse to listen to reason and go onto the internet to complain. Man, that's not content. That's whining. But Hannibal, it sounds like you're whining about them. Okay, I could possibly see where you're getting that idea. I admit I tend to get a little preachy in my videos. I won't deny that. My preachiness comes from two things. I'm passionate about my hobbies. My time is extremely valuable to me. I don't like wasting it on bullshit. And having to sift through algorithmic impressions trying to find something specific wastes time. I want to get back into the game as fast as possible. Video after video after video of about nerfed movement complaints, a thesis on how Battlefield 6 is ruining your day because Steam charts show a drop in consecutive online gamers in Steam, just Steam. Drip feed makes you wait, and that makes you mad, and Jesus Christ in a wicker chariot being pulled by 1,000 hamsters. I just wanted to find a video from the bigger creators about tips and tricks to improve skill, for fuck's sake. And my preachiness stems from a massive frustration of echo chambers. Look, I kinda get it. You don't like the game, or you don't like what you perceive as the wrong direction, or hell, have this perception that things aren't smelling right. Okay, fine. But you're not talking about it. You're not discussing. You're bitching. Now, there's two types of bitchers here. The ones bitching because they don't know how to constructively provide the feedback of information on how something isn't working correctly and going over what's broken and why so the audience can see and adjust. And the ones doing it for clicks. The rage baiters. Because they ran out of things to say and still want to be relevant. I mean, I get it. I'm creating content and I want to stay relevant. So yes, I do get it. But I will say this for everyone in the back. I am not in any way, shape, form, or fashion dictating how people should create content or who views such content. What I am saying is if you're going to make commentary, make commentary. If you're going to piss and moan about nerfs, buffs, drip feed, that's not commentary. That's, and I'll say it again, whining. So, I'll drop multiple videos about community culture and point out things like this. I drop counter arguments, bringing screenshots, spelling things out in purple crayon, counterpoints, numbers, and the like into the conversation. I'll suggest an alternative point of view, and I get laughed at out of the room, immediately dismissed, or my channel is simply labeled as mediocre and holier than thou. But see, I got you here. Instead of having a collaborative back and forth discussing pros, cons, adjustments, things we could try to meet halfway on whatever topic is obviously bugging you, you resort to attacking the channel or the vibe of the channel. But when I try steering the conversation back to the topic at hand, you double down. And honestly, I can't take that, and by extension your channel's point of view, as commentary seriously. It tells me you're more concerned about defending a possible flaw than addressing the topic to better the community. Which means you aren't about the community as a whole, you're more worried about your subs, your likes, your clicks, your views, your sector of your community. This is the classic definition of an echo chamber. But Hannibal, what about you and your channel? Aren't you doing the same thing? Well, no. If you come into the channel and not like the vibe or the topic, that's fine. I know I'm not for everyone, and I never claimed to be. I'm looking for people who just like the game and can have a rational adult conversation. Pros and cons. I don't expect a single person to convert to my line of thinking. As a matter of fact, that's the last thing I want. I want people who think for themselves to come up in here to the HBD party. To discuss, to nerd out, to wane nostalgic from time to time, to connect and make new friends. I have followers who have become subs, friends, and collaborators. We nerd out. We talk about the fun we have and what content that we make. These guys are just a few examples of content creators and gamers who like the game. We talk every day, both in my Discord and in my comments. We laugh at jokes, memes, and the like. But I'm not looking for sycophants or yes men. My boys Josh Golden 3649, Mongo 1137, Michael Klim 1971, One Eye Odin 1988 PSN, or even Alan when playing, just to name a few, are some of my biggest critics of my channel. Every video they comment, every single video, and they almost always come back with counterpoints or say something along the lines that they don't agree. And we go back and forth every time, and we almost always meet in the middle. I concede their points 99% of the time. I appreciate their candor and the point of view, and I like to think that they return that favor. I make that assumption because they keep coming back video after video and comment and discuss. I don't take them or any of my subs for granted. Absolutely not. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have much of a channel, even a small one. Now would I? But you know what they do? What I love about them the most? They come to my video and they don't drop "you're fucking dumb" statements. They do what I do. They start with their statement of disagreement, and they follow it up with reasons laid out point by point. They include their receipts and their numbers, and they wait for my response. And I respond, addressing each and every one of their points. Whether it's at 3K subs or 30K subs, I'm never going to reply with, "Don't be stupid, please." I save that shit for the drive-bys. I hold that in my pocket for the weirdos trying to be brave behind a keyboard and screen. Why does all this matter? Well, for starters, it probably doesn't matter to a small group of folks. That vocal minority I have mentioned before. After all, we're talking about a game and a gaming community. I mean, I'm new to all this content creation, commentary, and all around shooting the shit about games. It's possible I could be completely missing the mark here about how things are done. I'll admit that's a possibility. Likely? Probably not. For context, I had always wanted to do this. A channel to talk about games. I didn't have this opportunity until about a year ago. So the channel drama, the game drama, this is all sort of new to me and a bit of a culture shock if I'm being honest. That's me providing levity. But it's becoming clear to me that drama fills seats. Now, I have two choices here. Join in on the drama. Video after video after video, week after week after week. My take would not be about the game, but at the rage culture. Or I can acknowledge its existence, as weak content as it is. I could focus on the game and continue working on my section of the community. Hell, I've been talking about going back to basics in that regard anyway. I admit that getting sucked into the drama has a much higher potential for channel growth, but I'm not sure I'm interested in daily or weekly after-action reports of some of the dumbest shit and takes I've ever watched or read. I'm not sure my audience would like to hear that every single upload. We did agree we were here for the enjoyment of the game and have fun. We did agree we were here for shenanigans and hooligan shit. So, I think I'm done for now calling out the outrage culture for now. The entitlement is seriously affecting my sanity. I don't want the channel to be that channel. No, I think it's better to pivot now before the channel gets sucked into an endless loop of telling kids to get off my goddamn lawn. I should follow my own advice, too. You always know how much money you have. You don't know how much time you have. And I'm not spending too much time on the whining rager guys who all whine and piss and moan and complain no matter what. The other part that's been made clear to me is they've made up their minds, convinced of their own half-baked logic, and there's no changing that. It's just bread and circuses with them. So, will Monday Massacres end? Oh, no. I never said I'd stop that. But I think I'll save them for the really weird, wild, and absolutely batshit crazy things I come across. Doing that may make the massacres have a bit more punch and not watered down with mediocre content. So, my hood rats, we're going back to basics. The tomfoolery, the shenanigans, the hooliganisms, the hood rat shit. So, who's ready for sniper headshots? Tank sniping helicopters, little bird hunting, revive marathons, C4ing campers. Who's ready for fuckery? I'm more than ready for it. So I want to hear from you lot. What is it that you want to see or talk about? What's in your agenda for when you fire up the game? You should let me know in the comments. Let's start a mixtape of fuckery and buffoonery. Bring me the things you're working on. I want to see if we could both do it. Thanks for watching, everyone. We have a new veteran spotlight this month. For the month of March, we're spotlighting National Montford Point Marine Association Incorporated. This was suggested to me by a follower on X. This organization's purpose is to support educational assistance programs, veteran programs, and promotion of community services. Check out the link in the video description to see if this is something you'd be interested in supporting. Remember, a simple link share is helpful as well. And I want to end with thanking every single supporter of this channel. I know very well that if it wasn't for my subscribers, channel members, ex-followers, and supporters, I wouldn't have much of a channel. We are at 2,924 subs now. 76 away from the 3K goal. The Discord is open. The platoon is open. You need a squad mate? Check if I'm online in the game. Come join the lobby, and we could go kill things as a squad. So, that wraps up the start of the week, folks. A bit different, but I wanted to get it out there, set the tone, so to speak. So, until the next one, out.